I feel like Black Mirror seasons 2 through 4 were a cultural event. I first watched the show in high school and have been in love with it since, holding certain episodes closer to my heart, talking with friends about iconic episodes. I realized before creating this video that I actually haven't seen all of the episodes, so I wanted to fully dive in and rewatch. There was a period of time among my friend group where Black Mirror episodes were the cool, rare commodity. Have you seen Metalhead, Men Against Fire? No, dude, you're missing out heavy. They were kind of like collector's items, and I look at that time with a lot of nostalgia because these episodes meant so much to me in my past and still now through the rewatch. As a writer, I am so happy to talk about this show because it was episodes like White Bear, White Christmas, Men Against Fire, The Entire History of You, that contributed to the development of my love for storyline twists. Almost everything I write now involves the subversion of expectation, which, yes, is a core component of comedy and drama and just story, but it's also my favorite part of creating, making someone think one thing, hitting them with something different, giving them that payoff, and I can thank mainly Black Mirror for that, really. This show shaped me in many ways, that being the most prominent. When I set out to make this video, I had seen about 75 to 80% of Black Mirror, maybe more. I've now seen 100% of it and watched many videos about it. What I want to talk about today is the direction of the show, what I love about the direction it's gone in, what I don't love, and why I love the fact that I don't love some things about the show, so okay, get some food and settle in. Black Mirror is created by Charlie Brooker, a brilliant showrunner from the UK, just as the show is. This is an anthology series with individual episodes that explore a diversity of genres, but most are set in near-future dystopias with highly advanced technology. I've read that it's very inspired by The Twilight Zone, which I haven't watched too much of. Black Mirror is the sci-fi show of my generation, though. To create any piece of fictional media, IP that people are drawn to and fans of, is impressive. To consistently do it over numerous seasons, never double-dipping with content or storylines or even actors, and getting to the point that you are the place to go for sci-fi, psychological, speculative drama, over the span of now a decade, is an unreal achievement. And Black Mirror has done that, creating interesting story after interesting story, totaling 28 beautifully told pieces, one being an interactive film, Bandersnatch. There's so much good about this television series, brilliant writing, amazing casting, this series highlighting and propelling many rising stars that were at the beginning of their careers in earlier seasons, like Daniel Kaluuya in 15 Million Merits, Joe Cole in Hang the DJ, although I think he was already in Peaky Blinders at this point, Toby Cabell in Entire History of You, Haley Atwell, and Domhnall Gleeson in Be Right Back, Sarah Snook in Men Against Fire, many that I'm probably overlooking too. There's also the numerous Easter eggs that are super fun to see, many of them appearing in the Season 4 episode Black Museum. And even though you could argue that none of the Easter eggs really amounted to that much in the end, I think I'm actually drawn to that about this show. What I respect most about Black Mirror is it feels like they have never ever catered to what the audience wants to see. Notice how I say I respected it, didn't love. Would I love to see more White Bear-esque, White Christmas-esque, USS Callister-esque stories? Even if they felt like double dipping, of course I would, but to me it feels like Black Mirror's intention behind every decision the production team makes is progressing forward, diving into the unknown, the new, constantly trying to innovate, taking action, and surrendering the result and what people think of it, a mantra I connect with very deeply. A show that is concerned with the what if cannot stop trying to see into the future. It's in their blood, it is their mission. But this also means they cannot stop in the now. Their purpose is to create good work, but more than that, new work. Find something new, find a risky angle and follow it. And overall, I love it. There are many people who hold opinions that the show has fallen off in terms of quality as it has progressed. Many have also said that Netflix's involvement with the show was the biggest contributor to the perceived drop in quality. Personally, I think this opinion is the easy one to take. I think seasons 3 and 4 were some really complete, solid work. Season 5, we had Smithereens. Bandersnatch was cool. The other two, What I see Black Mirror's progression as is more of a natural cause and effect scenario of just taking risks creatively. We don't see too many anthology series. They're kind of rare, and it's because of how challenging it is to create a successful one. To create a compelling show that attracts viewers and keeps them craving more is incredibly challenging. To do so with different characters, different stories, different genres is remarkable. We keep coming back even when we know what we're about to see is something we have no existing attachment to. It's a risk for the viewer too, and Black Mirror rewards us handsomely. So if you thought this video was going to be me bashing Black Mirror's direction, especially in the last 2 seasons, season 6 being included in that, you have to find another video. And that's not to say I've loved these last 2 seasons or been thrilled with their direction, or even prefer them to earlier seasons, which to be honest, I don't really at all. What I'm saying is that a lot of times we can be narrow-minded when engaging with media, making an impulse call on how we feel about content and then writing it off or celebrating it widely based off that impulse call, which I've certainly done my fair share of in the past. But as I rewatched Black Mirror this time around and just reflected on it more and more, I began to care a lot more about the creators and their intention, and started looking at this show as what I think it's intended to be, a creative playground where innovation is paramount and perfection is sent to the wayside. Could the show tie up some loose ends? Yes. Could it just take a page out of its past playbook, listen to its audience, and go in directions that they've enjoyed? Sure, but that wouldn't be taking a page out of their playbook. That would be rewriting the whole thing, going to an entire different book. I've recently really connected with Rick Rubin's sentiment about creation, where he states that the audience should come last.
Something I say in the book is that the audience comes last. I'm not making it for them. I'm making it for me. And it turns out that when you make something truly for yourself, you're doing the best thing you possibly can for the audience. So much of why, if you go to the movies, so many big movies just not good, it's because they're not being made by a person who cares about it. They're being made by people who are trying to make something that they think someone else is going to like. And that's not how art works.
The creator should focus on what they want to bring to life, and Rubin believes the reason the audience connects with something at the end of it is because it wasn't made to try to attract them, it was just made. And in creating what feels right to you, you can transcend authenticity and connect with audiences in ways that everyone truly wants to. And I think Black Mirror does this so well, and if there's one hope I have for the show moving forward, is that they keep doing exactly as they wish. It is brave to keep stabbing in the dark, and Charlie Brooker and the team continue to do that with what looks like no intention to stop. Alright, now let's talk about all of the goodness of this show. Here are my Black Mirror episodes ranked with commentary about each of them. Number 28, Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2, 50 out of 100. So I see what they were going for here, I do. And I too am scared of AI, especially in the arena of creative art and live performance. It's terrifying, and I appreciate all of the themes in this episode. An artist's inauthenticity to the public, shaping young minds in a direction that keeps them from feeling their feelings truly. The artist themselves being exploited by someone they trust in a managerial position, being made to create songs about that which does not truly resonate with them, feeling emotionally distressed themselves while being looked up to by the emotionally distressed youth. All of them feeling like they have to live up to this picture of perfection that quite honestly the generation before us has kind of created. I like it all. Even Ashley O getting to live her artistic truth at the end was a win. However, this was about the execution for me. It was messy. It tried to be far too much and ended up falling flat for me. Number 27, Mazey Day, 57 out of 100. So, alright, well, I see the vision, I actually do, and I actually don't despise Mazey Day. I think paparazzi is gross, they have no respect for anyone's privacy, the werewolf thing feels far-fetched, but the more I think about it, the more I kind of don't hate the decision. Again, even Black Mirror episodes I wasn't in love with, I like that they exist. I need to rewatch this one. Number 26, Be Right Back, 72 out of 100. This was my first time watching this, basically ChatGPT of your dead lover. I like how this episode deals with the subject matter of love, relationships, and moving on after tragedy. What should we do in a situation like this? This episode moved quick. I would have liked to see more, but I understand the storytelling, the decision. Domhnall Gleeson was great. The lead actress is very beautiful, did a great job. I wasn't head over heels for this one, but I still liked it. I also liked how this showed the limitations of technology while also showing its beauty. The main character's child was going to grow up without her father. That was going to happen regardless. All she would know of him would be the things he posted online and things that other people told about him. So at that point, why not create this model of him? Why not create the model of everyone? With technology, do we move on from our loved ones? How can we? Everyone's digital footprint is now online. So many parts of them there to interpret, but it's an incomplete interpretation. Only what they chose to show, perhaps who they wanted to be. Number 25, Demon 79, 74 out of 100. Very unique, and at the bottom of the ratings here simply because of how highly I hold the episodes above. Amazing chemistry between the two leads. This is one of the main, quote-unquote, this didn't feel like a Black Mirror episodes that I do agree with. Number 24, The Waldo Moment, 75 out of 100. One of the episodes I haven't seen before this whole watch through, and I enjoyed this. The politicians who must put on a mask for the public versus the comedians who have everything at their disposal to use, but it's to the point where they almost make themselves less valuable. We live in a modern age where we can create personas that don't exist and people can latch onto them. They don't care who is behind the character, only what they mean in their eyes. It's stunning that politics can be in such a similar spot to when this was first released in 2013. I could so see a talking bear running for office pick up speed in modern day. We had Kanye, Harambe, and other pop culture icons garner votes because of how suboptimal the other candidates were last election. I think this is more a statement about society and the masks we feel we have to wear for society. No one can truly be themselves, and because they feel that way, they put on a front, either that of a sophisticated nature or the complete opposite, pull a talking bear who talks about his dick every 2 minutes. We're afraid of authenticity in the public eye because it's risky. Side note, I do believe COVID has actually changed this, and we're going in a different direction, a more authentic one online now. We'll see. Number 23, Metalhead, 76 out of 100. A big show don't tell episode. Pretty solid. I mean, those robot dog killers are enough of a premise to build an episode around, my god. And they did. This was a real horror movie. All of that to get a child a bear. What else can you do when existence is this bleak? What is a better purpose than to give a child some hope? Very well done. Mindless robots with just the intention of killing are so terrifying. I know I talked about not wanting Black Mirror to double dip and do an episode on a premise they've already done, but it would be cool to see more about this world, why these things exist, etc. Number 22, Playtest, 76 out of 100. This is very scary. I love the setup of this episode. It's not really my cup of tea at all. I don't love horror. There's so much left to interpret on what is real in this one, what actually happened. It's perhaps the most ambiguous of all Black Mirror endings. The entire episode could have just been Cooper's playtest, but that doesn't change the fact that companies will completely forego safety measures to achieve their goal, and this could actually happen. Great performance from Cooper. I'm sure there are Easter eggs I'm missing, but I'm okay with that. Number 21, Arkangel, 77 out of 100. I think this was the first Black Mirror episode I ever watched. It was an interesting choice. This one's got so much to unpack. How do you not get that procedure for your kid, if we're being honest? The ability to know where they're at all times, to protect them from wherever you are. There are so many positives, but the reality is that we become who we are because of the challenges we face, because of what we do when we have to be independent. And if you never get challenges or never feel independence, it's going to be complicated existing in the real world. We must allow our kids to fail, which is risky and scary because they can get hurt. It's tough to justify bringing kids into the world, but then we think about all the joy in our own lives, how much we've gone through, how good life actually is, and it's just so difficult. This was directed by Jodie Foster, and that's cool. Number 20, Striking Vipers, 78 out of 100. So I still remember my reaction when watching this for the first time. It was very much a 19 or 20-year-old's reaction, joking around with friends. But I actually really like this episode. Inclusively accepts all sexual preferences. The deep down of it is that we are all questioning what life is right for us at all times. As much as we might try to live without regret, we can't help but think, what if? And I feel like many straight men are so programmed to think in a heterosexual way that they never consider anything else until maybe it happens later in life, which could even be while they're married. This life is so complex, and if you can find something that means something to you, you should express it to your loved ones. And I love the theme of acceptance here. The sort of trade-off the two had. It's really beautiful. We can't make people feel guilt about their urges. We are human. We must seek to accept them as they are and try to see how they can most healthfully find fulfillment from expression in that manner. Number 19, Men Against Fire, 79 out of 100. Glad Black Mirror made an episode about war because, this shit's fucked and the technology is wild. Kind of sick if they weren't committing war crimes. Watching this episode with the knowledge of the roaches being humans who the soldiers are programmed to see as monsters is a cool experience. Jesus, they're calling out the military industrial complex with this. I love the lines, quote unquote, roaches can't speak. One of the roaches replies, you just can't hear us. The calm demeanor towards legitimately killing people, genocide, it's disgusting and very realistic. This general or military leader is exactly what I expect. And treating someone who sees through all the bullshit as someone who's broken, it's just like a see what they want you to see or see nothing at all. They will literally give you PTSD if you don't comply. And they don't even truly take care of their soldiers. It's all just a facade and the government profits. I really like this episode and its message. It's wild, the military spending all this money on technology and just sending these soldiers back to shitty lives. Can it get more realistic? At times I felt this was slow, maybe it didn't have to be this long, but it makes sense. I liked it. Number 18, 15 million merits, 80 out of 100. In the first 3 minutes of this episode, we establish a world where people work to power a system, thinking they're doing it for their own individual gain and holding out hope for that. The shot of Daniel Kaluuya's character neglecting the pornographic content and getting penalized for it is a clear sign into how this world is set up and perhaps how ours is. You are rewarded for engaging with material that is immoral or designed to breed addiction and unhealthy behaviors. And how can you blame those that do? It's their way of getting through a life they feel they didn't choose, but instead were dropped into. Everyone's desiring to live the life of the rich and the famous, believing that that's what's in store for them, but it is an uphill battle with everything that contributes to stealing your attention. Some of my favorite details of this episode are the man next to Daniel's actions, making fun of and enjoying his superiority complex over those below him, even though his situation is shit. He views all of the entertainment content. He's so caught up in the corporate scam that he genuinely calls others lazy for not subscribing to the overworking they have subject to them. Each of these characters dream, but understand the importance of merits, which represent money, status, fame, etc. I find it a great detail that we don't see how these people got here. Abby mentions that once you're 21, you decide where to go, and this obviously represents adulthood. The system is going to create a reality where you hate the work that they see as valuable to them, and even when you dream and try and bring something unique, true, and valuable, they will still see you as a peg they're trying to fit into their machine. For this one, I love the concept. I think it's brilliant, all that. But I do find it to be a bit in your face. It's so obvious, there's not too much room for interpretation, which you might say is common in sci-fi, speculative, fiction, dystopia, but I disagree. I really enjoyed this. Number 17, Joan Is Awful, 88 out of 100. So this is really solid and really scary, especially for actors, but also for anyone. It's a little far-fetched now, but I think a situation like this is actually so much closer to happening than we think. Good performances, scary premise, well done. Got kind of crazy there at the end, but felt like a Black Mirror episode, which was awesome after 4 years of silence. Number 16, Nosedive, 81 out of 100. This makes me never want to use social media again. Perfection is sold and weaponized in this world. There's gurus trying to make you more sociable, remind you of anything. I love that the brother stays inside his own bubble, maintaining a 3.7 out of 5 because of how twisted he interprets the world as. It shows that those who stay confined to their small social circles out of collective fear of putting themselves out there are able to sit in that comfortable space of affirmation. And can you blame them? Bryce Dallas Howard devoured this role. The laugh she was doing was just peak. Similar to 15 Million Merits, I feel like it's very in your face with everything it's saying. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I mean that in a way that analyzing it would simply be summarizing its exposition. I enjoyed the storyline. It felt rushed toward the end, but I thought that worked really well. Number 15, Bandersnatch, 84 out of 100. This is an awesome experience. Holds up really well 5 years later. Has anyone else even done a choose-your-own-adventure piece of immersive media? Will Poulter, always love to see him, love the concept here, and just a fun thing to be a part of. So much I missed on the first couple times I watched it. Here are my choices on screen in case you want to follow along. Number 14, Shut Up and Dance, 84 out of 100. During the second watch, seeing Kenny's kind behavior with children is very difficult. This anonymous group building an army of people to do deeds they need done through blackmail, and righteous blackmail at that. Watching child pornography is pretty terrible. This is humanity when we simultaneously see through society's bullshit, and technology is so democratized that society can't keep up with its advancement. People can be destructively chaotic for the sake of it, sending others on wild goose chases, making them fight to the death to not be exposed, only to be trolling completely at the end. This is one that can make you spiral into nihilism pretty quickly. Number 13, Crocodile, 85 out of 100. Holy shit. That goddamn hamster. My god, this was terrible to watch. Terrible. This was absolutely heart-wrenching. I really can't believe it was the hamster. That is actually such a ridiculously good ending. My god. I don't know what I would do in Mia's shoes. My only complaint is that I don't love the Deus Ex Machina of the car not starting for the woman watching Mia's memories. It felt kind of just like a story point that just was convenient. But overall, this was an awful watch, and I, like Mia, felt powerless during all of it. It was a really great performance by Andrea Riseborough. Number 12, Entire History of You, 86 out of 100. I find this episode so intriguing. We're introduced to this world so quickly, with technology that allows you to see every single moment of your life with the ability to play memories back whenever you like. So obviously, society is able to use it advantageously, checking your last 24 hours at security checks, being able to see what you did after drinking too much on a night out, and checking to see exactly when the douche at a house party was sleeping with your wife. Toby Kibble delivers an excellent performance. Jodie Whittaker is amazing opposite him, and this storyline is so incredibly interesting, showing how technology can aid obsessive, addictive, and manic behavior. We have so much information that the sleuthing can be endless, and we can make endless assumptions the higher grade the technology is. Toby is actually hilarious in this role, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone play a drunk person better than Toby. This is so well written. This episode's ending is brilliant, asking the question of, is ignorance bliss in this scenario? Would it be better to know the truth or to live with no real way of knowing? Liam's decision at the end isn't commenting and saying one would be better than the other, but rather that he'd rather live without access to his memories moving forward. Number 11, Hang the DJ, 87 out of 100. Oh my god, I love this episode. This was such a formative experience for me watching this. I don't know why. This episode just scratches some part of my brain. I love the two actors, Joe Cole from Peaky Blinders and the woman who played the lead. Love is such a heartbreaking, brutal thing. The dating world too, the pain we go through, all truly useful, all truly painful, what we can learn about ourselves from other people. I just love this episode a lot. I don't love that it's one big simulation trope, but I think they actually did it pretty tastefully here. The chemistry is on fire between the two lead actors. Loved this one. Number 10, Beyond the Sea, 88 out of 100. The range it takes from Aaron Paul to pull this off is kind of astonishing. To play Cliff, the distant husband, as well as David, the man in the distant husband's body who lost everything. To carry both of these characters' storylines across this tightrope of, oh shit, I can see the subtle changes in the character, but also, oh shit, those changes have been subtle. And I kind of feel like it could be either of them right now. It's just brilliant. Great writing, meeting great performance. I like the commentary about past generations not respecting the opinions of women. Because Cliff doesn't value his wife or son's opinion over his male colleagues, let alone at all, the story works here. It shows in a period of peak patriarchal capitalism where even the death of a man's entire family is not more important than a work mission. Great ending here. What is more fitting than these two competitive, greedy capitalist men fighting for possession of the family and the woman like their items, only for one of them to destroy the item once it's out of their reach. Number 9, Smithereens, 89 out of 100. I actually really liked Smithereens a lot. The ending credit sequence, events like these tragedies are just a part of our daily life. We're numb to them. We all have our daily routines, and that's our focus. We can't take our eyes off our phones, but we're still distant from them. When something terrible happens, we can experience it without it being in our actual vision, which is a surefire way to numb yourself to an event. Andrew Scott and Damson Idris are amazing. Funny how close those two characters were at the end of this. Not a single person was interested in helping Andrew Scott's character. Every single person in this was doing their duty. No one was having an actual conversation. Even Billy Bauer was getting directed what to do, what to say. It's disgusting. No one tried to help or even really talk to this guy. We're also focused on what it means for us, how to protect what our responsibility is, etc. Just speak to a human like Damson's character started to, but instead the end happens. Number 8, USS Callister. Fucking love this premise so much. Creating an immersive game world where you can be who you want and include people from your world, grabbing their DNA to include them. Like, it is sick and twisted. This is a Black Mirror classic. Such a fun world to be in, as awful as it is. A real comfort sci-fi piece for me. One qualm, I feel like in reality, Daly would have designed a world where this could never have happened, but then there wouldn't be a story. I was writing this and thinking, this is such a dangerous concept, but then it's kind of like, is it? If someone feels disrespected in their life, and they're not going to bring it up and confront people, and they feel like doing harm to these people, is it that bad to give them a world where they can carry out those bad actions so long as they don't manifest in the real world? I don't know, but I guess the creation of any life is going to have to result in consciousness, especially for a realistic experience, so it probably is a bad thing. Number 7, Loch Henry, score 90 out of 100. Oh boy, I liked this one a lot. The mask on the wall is... this storyline is so insane. I just love this episode, to be honest. I think winning an award at the end is amazing writing. The cast was awesome here. The mom was so scary. I believe she was the cop in Smithereens too. Really good episode. Samuel Blenkin is surely up next. You will see more of him soon. Number 6, the National Anthem, 91 out of 100. This was my first time watching this episode, and there was so much good here. The most profound part being the story, the artist's statement, everyone tuning in, showing us as moralist cowards in the face of devastating, disgusting circumstances. Human nature has and always will be the craving of action in the Colosseum. We are so self-centered that none of us have empathy strong enough to override our primality. The only person not to view the act, the artist himself, Bloom, he was not concerned with it. If people had respected the Prime Minister and given him absolute privacy, they would have discovered the princess safe and sound. This episode was released in 2011, and it perfectly captured how I believe the situation would go down today in 2024. As with much viral media in the world, no one employs a second of empathy. It is not them in the arena, and they find themselves uninterested, merely without the conviction to stand up to the injustice happening, or enjoying it because the attention is off them for another second. They feel a sense of community. It's the same as making fun of someone else to get laughs from the people around you. Honestly, I think this could be one of the best episodes of Black Mirror. It's such a profound, intense, and strong topic covering important subject matter. Number 5, Black Museum, 93 out of 100. A grand episode, very, very reminiscent of White Christmas while still being its own thing. These stories are fucked. It's sick concepts, a doctor able to feel pain, keeping your dead spouse's consciousness in your own head, etc. All my homies hate Rollo Haynes. I just love this episode. So good. Number 4, White Christmas, 94 out of 100. An amazing premise. A man who is trying to get out of the punishment for his own crimes by getting a confession out of someone else. Simulated in this home, almost like a dream tactic. This is brilliant. John Hamm is killer in this. I haven't loved much he's been in since Mad Men, but this is amazing work. Second story is essentially Severance. The last story is so fucked up, and it's the cookie they took out of his head that confessed to his crime. This is insane. To be blocked by everyone on Christmas is crazy brutal. It's even worth it to be free then. I just can't get over this premise in this story. In this world, you can be manipulated into thinking you've been talking with someone for 5 years. Perhaps the craziest Black Mirror reveal is the girl Potter thought to be his daughter not being his daughter. Unreal, made my heart drop. Number 3, Hated in the Nation, 95 out of 100. This was my first time seeing this episode, and I'm a massive fan right off the bat. Fuck. Big National Anthem vibes, and I'm really attracted to the premise of someone doing quote-unquote performance art on society in this way, in a fictional setting, let me say. This flowed so well, this episode, brilliant storytelling, cutting back and forth between the testimony and the events unfolding, to Blue finding the dude who did it hiding away at the end. Social media really is king. Just seeing the FBI and the government consistently 2 steps behind someone who's just really good with Twitter was so telling. Social media has created this world where we feel comfortable wishing death upon people we do not know at all because they're not right in front of us. We're separated by a screen, so it's not real to us. We think that online actions don't have consequences, and Garrett Scholes disagreed with that. This episode's wild and one of my new favorites. San Junipero, 95 out of 100. So this is my first time really watching this one. And God, I mean, should you love, hold on, even when you know this experience will end. This was the first Black Mirror episode I cried during. This is such a difficult dilemma. They show a beautiful part of technology, the ability to give someone like Yorkie the life she could never have, someone who was dealt a terrible hand by life. Technology saved Yorkie. And you might say it's not real. Well, is any of this? We're all just living in a simulation. All we have is our consciousness and awareness. And yes, I know that's super woo-woo, but still, the costume and production design is so beautiful in this. God, I actually want to live in San Junipero. I love the happy ending. But even more than that, I love that they highlighted the difficulty of a decision like this for Kelly. She, who spent her entire life with her husband, lost her daughter, holds this tremendous guilt that she gets to do something that people before her haven't, thinking she should pass over and live like them. But she chooses herself, and that's the gorgeous part of this episode. I really loved it. Heaven is a Place on Earth fits so well. What a choice. And I just want to say how expertly written and cast this episode was. I'm in love with both Yorkie and Kelly just as people. Number 1, White Bear, 96 out of 100. White fucking Bear, my favorite Black Mirror episode. There is something about choreographed chaos that I find so attractive, man. This premise is mad. This is genuinely performance art. Everyone with their phones out, I'd be going insane. The people filming, this remains interesting for so long. People dressed up, creating this elaborate plan to put this girl through hell over and over and over again. This just gives you the vibe of complete and utter anarchy the whole time. I can't get over the people filming. It's like the worst haunted house of all time. I love how theater this is too, doing it over and over and over again, improvising in different moments. It's the worst form of punishment imaginable, being paraded around the town after acquiring all this knowledge through traumatic events. But Black Mirror is not one to often consider the feelings of their characters. They're most concerned with how things would play out logically in a society that enjoys spectacle. This episode changed me fully. I think it's perfect. I'd never seen a twist conceived like this. The best post-credit scene in Black Mirror history. The setup. I write almost everything I do with this etched into my brain, this twist, how to make my stories that much more interesting. I'll remember this one for my entire life. It's such an influence. Integrating live immersive theater for the public into that of crime. It's so brilliant. My God. It makes me so happy that this show exists. Let me know what your rankings are in the comments. I'm looking forward to season 7.
You can blame me shame me. And still